Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Yes, my name is Brian Taylor. I'm the Area Development Manager for the North of Wiltshire. So we're based in Chippenham and we deal with all planning applications, listed building applications, trees applications, conservation area applications throughout.
Excuse me, would you mind just speaking up a little bit?
Sorry. So for the whole of the North of Wiltshire, including Malmesbury and the area border area. What we wanted to get across was how individuals and organisations can get involved in the planning process. Now we know we have two major applications which have been submitted in the last couple of weeks, affecting Malmesbury itself, a supermarket and a large-scale residential proposal. We're anticipating that there will be another supermarket proposal in Malmesbury. So those are obviously hot topics at the moment. But what I'm going to say to you tonight really applies to any planning application and any proposal that comes forward. We deal with them in exactly the same way. Wiltshire Council does encourage applicants, any applicants, to consult with local residents before submitting a planning application. So in the way that Sainsbury's and I believe Waitrose have carried out some form of public meetings, putting information about before they submitted the application. We also encourage anybody who's proposing an extension to their house to talk to their neighbours. So and we encourage that sort of pre-application discussion so that hopefully any issues can be flushed out and hopefully ironed out before the application is submitted. The process of an application, once an applicant has decided to make an application, it's submitted to Wiltshire Council. We check through it to check that we have all the information that we need and all the statutory information that's required to make it valid, to make it that it's a proper application. And that includes the fees, but also a number of drawings, documents, explanations of what the proposal is about. And only once we've got an application which is valid do we then publicise it. We go into consultation mode. And there are a number of methods in which we do that. Wiltshire Council puts every planning application on its website. So if you're familiar with the Wiltshire Council website, you'll go to the planning pages and you can look up and see what applications have been submitted. It gives you all the details, gives you all the plans, all the documents, all the letters that have been received in response to that application are all there available for you to see. We also consult with the local town and parish councils. They get a full set of the application proposals. We write to immediate neighbours of a site. So they get a specific letter informing them about the planning application. We put site notices up, so every site has you will see them around the towns and villages, I'm sure, the green site notices, which just briefly explains what's been submitted and gives you contact details of how you find out about the proposal and how you make your comments. And we also put notices in the press, so there's an advert in every week in the local paper about the applications that have been submitted. We also consult with statutory or technical consultees, so the highways officers, archaeologists, ecologists, Environment Agency. Those people who have a technical expertise which we don't have within the planning department, we consult with them. Anyone is entitled to comment on a planning application. You don't have to live nearby the site, you don't have to be specifically contacted by Wiltshire Council. Anybody can comment on an application, even if you don't live there. So someone in Malmesbury can comment on a planning application in Chippenham. It's the quality of what you're saying, it's the importance of what you're saying that's the key thing, not how close you live to the site. The way in which you can get to see the proposals varies. We get an increasing number of people using our website and finding that useful, looking online, looking at all the proposals online and being able to view that. You can also visit the planning offices in Monkton Park in Chippenham, where we hold a complete set of plans, and you can look at the paper copies there. Or indeed, the town and parish councils all have copies of planning applications, and many of those, particularly I know in Malmesbury, they make those plans available and you can view those. What I would say is, certainly with some of the major applications, it's all quite daunting. There is a lot of paperwork involved in submitting an application for either large-scale residential or the retail proposals. If you have any queries, if you don't understand anything, if you don't know where to look for information, please contact us at the planning department. there's one number that will get you through to the planning department. You don't necessarily, there is always details of the case officer. The individual planning officer who will be dealing with the application is always part of the side, but you don't necessarily have to speak to them to find out the information you need. Our admin team and support services may be able to answer your queries just as well. So please contact us if you have any concerns or queries. Once you've had a look and you feel you understand the proposals and you want to make a comment on them, there's a number of ways in which you can do that. We do need it in writing to take it fully into consideration. You can obviously email us at our general email address, as long as you quote the application reference number, which again is always in the publicity. You can, there is a method through the Wiltshire Council website where you can just fill out a comments form and that will automatically come through. Or you can write us straightforwardly through a letter in the post. As long as you quote the reference number, that's absolutely fine. We'll accept that. We do need a name with any comments. We don't accept anonymous comments, and your comments will be made publicly available. So on the file and on the website, your comments will be made available. I know that a lot of people have, or say a lot of people, I know that people are concerned that there's only a 21-day period for making comments on any planning application. This is a statutory period. It's the minimum period that we are allowed to give as a planning authority for a consultation process. But in practice, it's generally very much longer than that. If a town or parish council feels that they're not going to be able to make their comments within those 21 days, we encourage them just to ring the planning department and tell us, well, we've not got a planning meeting until the week after, and we generally can fit in with that and we can extend the period. For the large-scale applications, the major applications, like as I say, such as the Sainsbury's application, the length of time it's going to take us to determine the application is not going to be quick. We know that a lot of people are going to be interested in it. It's going to be, already we know it's going to be a controversial application. It's going to take a long period of time. We have to take on board by law, we have to take into account every comment that we receive right up until the point that we make a decision. So even though it's outside that 21-day period, we will still take it into account. If you're worried about whether you've missed the deadline or that whether you're not going to be able to get your comments to us by the time we're making a decision, just contact us and we'll let you know what stage in the process we're going through. We will, if you've made an objection or a comment or even a letter of support, and people do write letters of support about an application, we will always notify you when the application goes to committee. So if the application is going to be considered at committee, we will write to you usually about a week beforehand and say this application is coming up to the next area planning committee. We often get queried on what you can comment on in a planning application. For the council to take it into account, for it to have any real weight, it needs to be what's called a material planning consideration. And this is fairly wide-ranging. It involves, for example, our own local plan policies. It involves national policies, and there's been an awful lot of discussion about the coalition government changing the way in which planning policies are laid out and established over the last 12 months. That is very, very much a key issue, how the proposal is judged against those policies. But also you may have comments about the highways impact, how much traffic is going to be generated, how the local roads are going to cope with that. You might want to comment about what the proposal looks like, how it will impact on public views, how it will impact on the landscape. You might have issues if you live close to a site about it imposing on your privacy or being overbearing. All these issues are material considerations. There are a number of things which we can take into account which often get raised, and the classic one is a development might, people often write in and say, well, this development will actually lower the price of the value of my property. We can take that into account. What you need to think about is why it's going to lower the value of your property, and if it's because it invades your privacy or it looks ugly, then those are the issues which you need to bring to our attention. What we can take into account is any private rights individuals may have over that land, or any covenants are on that land. Those are all separate civil or legal matters which the planning department and the council can't really get involved in. Just so you're aware, there are two ways in which decisions are made. The same considerations are taken into account for every planning application, but about 94–95% of the applications that we receive in Wiltshire are dealt with by officers. They don't go anywhere near a committee. They're dealt with by officers using the policies that have been set down nationally or locally. It's only the 5–6% that are major applications that are perhaps more controversial or have a lot of local interest in them that actually get reported to either, in this case, the Northern Area Planning Committee, which meets in Chippenham on a 3-weekly basis, or if it's very large and has an impact beyond the local area, it may well get reported to what's called the Strategic Planning Committee, which deals with those major. So there are those two processes that are in place.